Commander Zexpal stood proudly on the bridge of his massive warship. Through the large viewing window, he could see the small blue planet called Earth. It looked so peaceful, so unaware of what was about to happen. Zexpal had conquered 37 planets for the galactic hegemony. This would be number 38. "Prepare the standard message," he ordered. His crew, a mix of different alien species, moved quickly to obey. The message would broadcast in 10,000 languages. It always said the same thing: surrender or die. Most planets chose to surrender. The few that fought always lost. The hegemony had the best weapons and ships in the known universe. "Message ready, Commander," said his communications officer. "Send it," Zexpal ordered. He smiled, showing his sharp teeth. This would be easy. The message went out. Zexpal waited for the usual panic. Sometimes planets would try to talk. They would beg. They would offer deals. It was always the same. But something strange happened. Earth did not respond with words. "Commander, ships approaching," shouted his radar officer. Zexpal looked at the screen. 20 small vessels were rising from Earth. They looked primitive, made of simple metals, nothing like the advanced ships of the hegemony. "How amusing," Zexpal said. "They think they can fight us with those toys." But then the Earth ships did something impossible. They moved faster than any ships Zexpal had ever seen. They flew in patterns that made no sense. His gunners couldn't hit them. "What is happening?" Zexpal demanded. The Earth ships were now right next to his fleet. They should not have been able to get so close. The hegemony had shields, the best shields in the galaxy. "They've attached something to our ships," a crew member shouted. Suddenly, explosions rocked the fleet. 5 of Zexpal's 12 warships lost power immediately. Their engines were destroyed. "Impossible," Zexpal shouted. "How did they get past our shields?" Then a voice came through their communication system. It was calm and human. "You seem to have made a mistake," said the voice. "This is Captain Chen of Earth's United Defense Force. You are not welcome here. Earth is not available for conquest. Please leave immediately." Zexpal could not believe what was happening. How could humans hack into their advanced communication system? How could primitive ships defeat the mighty hegemony? "This isn't over," Zexpal growled. "Retreat. All ships retreat." The remaining 7 ships turned around. They moved slowly without their full power. As they limped away from Earth, Zexpal sent an urgent message to the Hegemony Central Command. "Emergency. We have encountered unexpected resistance at Earth. Request immediate investigation. These humans have technology that should not be possible for their development level. I repeat, they have defeated half our fleet in minutes. Something is very wrong here." As his damaged ship entered faster than light travel, Zexpal looked at the blue planet one more time. What secrets did Earth hold? How could such a young species defeat the mighty galactic hegemony so easily? He would find out, and next time, he would be ready. But deep down, Zexpal felt something he had never felt before on a conquest mission. Fear. Dr. Lirax adjusted her viewing screen, focusing on the small blue planet below. As the hegemony's top xenoanthropologist, she had studied over 200 alien species, but humans were already proving different from all others. Her ship was cloaked. The humans could not see her. After Commander Zexpal's failed attack, the hegemony leaders wanted answers. Why was Earth so powerful? How could such a young species defeat their best ships? "Send out the observation drones," Dr. Lirax told her assistant. 6 small machines left her ship, each heading to different parts of Earth. For 3 days, Dr. Lirax watched the data flow in. What she saw made no sense. "Look at this," she said, pointing to her screen. "Their civilian technology is simple. Cars that used fossil fuels, phones with limited range, basic computers." Her assistant nodded. "Primitive. But then look at their military technology." Dr. Lirax showed another screen. defense systems that can track objects smaller than a dust particle, energy weapons that should be impossible for their science level. And look at these ships. They can maneuver in ways that defy our understanding of physics. How is this possible? Asked the assistant. Dr. Lirac shook her head. I don't know, but there's something else strange. She pulled up ancient star maps from the Hegemony archives. Look at this. The Sol system, Earth's system, should have been discovered and conquered thousands of years ago. It's in a perfect location, but all the old maps show it as blank space. The assistant looked confused. Maybe they just didn't find it. Impossible, said Dr. Lirac. And look at this. She zoomed in on the edge of the Sol system. These are boundary markers, very old ones. They're warnings. Warnings about what? That's just it. They don't say. They just mark this area as off-limits. No explanation. These markers are at least 50,000 years old. Dr. Lirac sent small probes to scan the planet more deeply. The results were even more confusing. The humans appear completely normal on the surface. But their DNA, it's too perfect, too adaptable. And beneath some of their oldest cities, I'm detecting energy readings that don't match any of their visible technology. She prepared her report for the Hegemony Council, typing carefully. Earth appears to be under some form of protection. Their military technology is centuries ahead of their civilian technology. Historical records suggest the Sol system has been deliberately isolated. I recommend extreme caution. 3 days later, Dr. Lirac was called to speak to the Hegemony Emperor himself. The massive alien looked down at her from his throne. Your report is disturbing, Dr. Lirac, said Emperor Dravzad. Are you suggesting we cannot conquer one simple planet? Dr. Lirac stood her ground. I am suggesting that Earth is not what it seems, your greatness. Something or someone has been protecting it, giving them advanced technology. We should learn more before attacking again. The Emperor laughed. His 6 eyes blinked in sequence. No single planet can stand against our full might. Commander Zexpal had only 12 ships. I will send 10,000. But Emperor, enough. The Emperor shouted. Prepare the invasion fleet. Earth will join our empire. Whatever secrets it holds will soon be ours. As Dr. Lirac left the throne room, she felt deeply worried. The Emperor was making a terrible mistake. She needed to learn more about Earth's secrets before it was too late. Keltor was not important in the Hegemony. Once, he had been a respected historian, but he asked too many questions. Now he worked alone in the Great Archive, far from the capital planet. His job was simple: organize ancient texts that no one cared about anymore. But Keltor loved the old stories. While the Emperor prepared to attack Earth, Keltor found something interesting hidden deep in the archive. What's this? He muttered to himself. He held up a dusty metal box. It was sealed with strange symbols he had never seen before. It took him 3 days to open it. Inside were thin sheets of a material that wasn't paper or metal, but something in between. The writing on them was very old, but Keltor could read most of it. As he read, his 3 hearts beat faster. According to these ancient texts, 50,000 years ago, a terrible war had nearly destroyed all life in the galaxy. The consuming shadow came from between the stars. Read 1 page. It devoured whole worlds. No weapon could stop it. Keltor read on, learning how the most advanced species of that time, called the Guardians, had fought against this cosmic horror. The Guardians sacrificed everything, you read. They used their final weapon to push the shadow back to the dark space between galaxies, but they knew it would return someday. Keltor turned to the next page. Before the last of us fade, we have created sanctuary worlds. We have seeded our genetic code and our knowledge into promising species on these planets. They will grow, evolve, and when the time comes, they will remember their purpose. The next pages describe these sanctuary worlds. Keltor's hands shook as he read the description of the 3rd planet in a system with 1 yellow star, 8 other planets, and a protective belt of asteroids. Earth, he whispered. They're describing Earth. According to the text, the Guardians had done more than just leave their technology on Earth. They had merged their genetic code with early humans, creating a species that looked simple but had enormous hidden potential. This knowledge and power would stay dormant until needed. The final page was a warning. Do not disturb the sanctuary worlds. When threatened, their defenses will activate. The sleepers will awaken. They must be allowed to develop naturally until the shadow returns. Keltor quickly gathered the ancient papers. He had to warn the Emperor. The humans weren't just another species. They were created by the Guardians as a last defense against a terrible enemy. If the hegemony attacked with their full force, it might trigger powers no one understood. He rushed to his small ship. The journey to the capital would take 3 days. He hoped he would arrive in time. But as Keltor's ship entered hyperspace, he didn't know that the Emperor's invasion fleet was already on its way to Earth. 10,000 warships were about to attack the most dangerous planet in the galaxy, and they had no idea what they were about to wake up. The sky above Earth turned dark as 10,000 hegemony warships appeared from hyperspace. Each ship was bigger than the largest human aircraft carrier. Together, they blocked the sunlight from reaching many parts of the planet. General Kraz, the hegemony's most decorated war leader, commanded the invasion from the largest ship. Begin the standard bombardment, he ordered. Target their military bases first. Bright energy beams shot down from the ships, hitting military bases around Earth. The general expected quick surrender. No planet had ever survived a full hegemony invasion. But Earth's response shocked him. Hidden defense systems activated all over the planet. Energy shields appeared over major cities, blocking the hegemony's weapons. Return fire shot up from places that hadn't shown any military presence before. How is this possible? General Kraz shouted as 3 of his ships exploded. Their weapons shouldn't be this strong. He ordered ground troops to land. Thousands of transport ships descended, carrying millions of alien soldiers. They landed in cities around the world, ready to crush any resistance. But the humans didn't panic. Instead, they fought back with surprising organization. In New York, schoolteacher Sarah Mitchell suddenly knew exactly how to disable an alien tank. She had never held a weapon before, but now her hands moved with perfect confidence as she assembled the device from simple household items. In Beijing, delivery driver Lai Wei found himself leading 50 civilians in a perfectly executed ambush against hegemony troops. Somehow, he knew exactly where the aliens would be vulnerable. All across Earth, ordinary humans discovered they had knowledge they never knew before. Farmers became strategists. Office workers became weapons experts. Children guided their families to safe locations no one knew existed. Deep beneath Antarctica, something ancient stirred. In a facility built long before humans recorded their history, machines that had waited for 50,000 years came to life. They sent a signal around the planet. Millions of humans stopped what they were doing as information flooded into their minds. Knowledge of advanced technology, battle strategies perfected over thousands of wars. The memory of who had created them and why. In his command ship, General Kraz watched in horror as his invasion fell apart. His ground forces were being defeated by what looked like ordinary civilians. His ships were being destroyed by weapons that shouldn't exist on such a young planet. "Sir," called his communications officer, "we're receiving a message from Earth." On the main screen appeared the face of a young human woman. She looked ordinary, except for her eyes, which glowed with a strange blue light. "Hegemony forces," she said calmly. "You have activated the Guardian Protocol. Earth is now fully awake. Retreat immediately or be destroyed." General Kraz stared at the screen. "Who are you?" The woman smiled. "We are humanity. We are the Guardian's children, and you have made a terrible mistake." As she spoke, hundreds more of the hegemony ships exploded in perfect synchronization. General Kraz finally felt something he had never experienced in all his years of warfare. Pure fear. While the battle for Earth continued, Dr. Lyrax's small research ship moved carefully through the chaos. She had stayed near Earth to observe, hiding behind one of the moons. Now she watched in amazement as the mighty hegemony fleet was being defeated. Her sensors detected another small ship approaching. She prepared to flee, but then recognized the signal. It was Keltor, the historian. Dr. Lyrax. His voice came through the communication system. "I must speak with you. I have found something important about Earth." She allowed his ship to dock with hers. When he entered, he was carrying old documents and looked like he hadn't slept in days. "Earth is not what we thought," Keltor said quickly. "It's a guardian world." "Guardians?" Dr. Lyrax asked. "The ancient species. They're just legends." "No, they were real." Keltor spread the old papers on her table. 50,000 years ago, they fought a terrible enemy. Before they disappeared, they created sanctuary worlds. Earth is one of them. Dr. Lyrax read the ancient texts. "So the humans are guardian descendants," Keltor finished. "Their most important creation. The guardians put their knowledge inside human DNA. It stays hidden until needed." On Earth, the awakening continued. In London, a nurse named Thomas found he could see the energy flowing through alien technology. He showed soldiers how to disable the hegemony's weapons with simple tools. In Rio de Janeiro, an old fisherman led people to an underground chamber that no one had seen before. Inside were devices that could control the weather, creating storms that damaged the alien ships. Around the world, humans were changing, not physically, but mentally. They were remembering things they had never learned, skills they had never practiced, knowledge from an ancient civilization encoded in their genes. In the Antarctic facility, more systems activated. Screens showed maps of the galaxy, with a dark area moving slowly toward it from the outer void. A countdown appeared, 273 years until arrival. Meanwhile, military leaders worldwide found they could communicate without speaking. They could share battle plans instantly across continents. It was as if humanity had become one connected mind when facing this threat. General Kraz watched in horror as his invasion force fell apart. More than half his ships were disabled or destroyed. Ground troops were being captured by humans who seemed to know exactly how hegemony technology worked. "Sir," his second-in-command reported, "the humans are adapting to our tactics faster than we can change them. It's like they're reading our battle plans." "Impossible," General Kraz muttered, but he no longer believed his own words. His main screen activated again. The same human woman appeared, her eyes glowing even brighter. "Your weapons cannot harm us," she said. "Your shields cannot stop us. We were made for this moment. This is your final warning. Leave our system or be destroyed." As she spoke, Kraz noticed something terrifying. The human ships were no longer just defending. They were organizing into attack formations. Earth was preparing to counterattack. News of the invasion's failure spread quickly across the galaxy. The hegemony had never lost a war before. Planets that had been conquered for centuries began to whisper about freedom. Emperor Dravzad sat on his throne, his 6 eyes blinking rapidly in anger. Messengers brought worse news each hour. Over 60% of his invasion fleet was destroyed or captured. The mighty hegemony looked weak for the first time in thousands of years. "This cannot stand," the emperor shouted. His advisors cowered before him. "No single planet defies the hegemony and survives." "What shall we do, Emperor?" asked his chief military advisor. The emperor's eyes narrowed. "Use the forbidden weapons, the planet killers." The advisor gasped. "But Emperor, those are only to be used in the most extreme." "Do it," the emperor demanded. "Earth must be destroyed completely. No survivors." On their small ship, Dr. Lyrax and Keltor intercepted the emperor's orders. "We must warn Earth," Keltor said. "Those weapons can crack a planet in half." Dr. Lyrax nodded and sent an urgent message to Earth, but the response surprised her. "We are aware of the threat," came the calm reply. Phase 2 of the Guardian Protocol is now active. On Earth, strange things were happening. In the oceans, massive structures began to rise from the deep. Mountains opened to reveal giant machines that had been hidden for millennia. From beneath the Sahara Desert, a huge disk emerged, covered in symbols no human had seen before today. Now they all understood what the symbols meant. General Kraz was preparing his remaining ships to retreat when his sensors officer shouted, "Sir, energy readings off the scale. The planet is changing." Around Earth, a shimmering field of energy began to form. It grew outward, past the orbit of the moon, encircling the entire area. "It's a shield," Kraz whispered. "A planetary shield." Beyond the shield, thousands of small satellites appeared, seemingly from nowhere. They were made of a material no hegemony scientist had ever seen. They moved in perfect formation, creating a network around Earth. Meanwhile, on planets across the hegemony, the news of Earth's resistance sparked rebellions. Subject worlds that had been oppressed for generations saw their chance for freedom. The Emperor's throne room was in chaos as reports flooded in. 7 major systems had already declared independence. His empire was falling apart. "The planet killers are approaching Earth, Emperor," an officer reported. On the main screen, they watched as 3 massive ships approached Earth. Each carried a weapon that could destroy a planet. They fired simultaneously at Earth. The energy beams hit the shield and dispersed harmlessly. The shield glowed brighter for a moment, then returned to normal. Before the hegemony could react, Earth's satellite network activated. Beams of pure white energy shot out, hitting each hegemony ship with surgical precision. But instead of destroying them, the beams simply disabled their weapons and engines. On Earth, the woman with glowing eyes spoke to all hegemony ships at once. "We could destroy you. We choose not to. Remember this mercy." With the hegemony fleet defeated, Earth began its next move. But not with weapons. Instead, humanity chose to share knowledge. Using the captured hegemony ships' communication systems, Earth sent a message to every planet in the galaxy. The broadcast showed images of ancient guardian symbols, followed by a simple message. "We are humanity, descendants of the guardians. We were created for a purpose that has now been awakened." The message continued, explaining the true history of the galaxy. How 50,000 years ago, a cosmic entity called the Shadow had consumed entire civilizations. How the Guardians had sacrificed themselves to drive it away. And how they had created humanity as both a sanctuary and as protectors should the Shadow return. "We were made to remember when needed," the message explained. "The hegemony's attack triggered our awakening, but we have also received a warning." The broadcast showed the readings from Antarctica. Something massive was moving toward the galaxy from the void between stars. The ancient enemy was returning. Across the galaxy, something unexpected happened. On hundreds of worlds, ancient guardian sites that had been dormant for millennia began to activate. Structures thought to be natural formations or simple ruins lit up with the same blue energy now flowing through Earth's defenders. Many civilizations discovered that their most advanced technologies had actually been reverse-engineered from Guardian artifacts found on their worlds long ago. The Guardians had not just protected Earth, they had left seeds of their knowledge throughout the galaxy. Dr. Lyrax and Keltor were invited to Earth as representatives of the scientific community. They landed in a place called Geneva, where world leaders had gathered. "What we're seeing is incredible," Dr. Lyrax said as she studied readings from around the planet. "The Guardian Protocol didn't just wake up human knowledge. It's activating a galaxy-wide defense network." Keltor nodded. "The ancient texts mentioned this, but I didn't understand until now. The Guardians knew the Shadow would return someday. They prepared the entire galaxy." The human leaders, their eyes still glowing faintly blue, explained that the knowledge flowing through them was becoming clearer. Earth had been designated as the primary command center for when the Shadow returned. "We can see the bigger picture now," said the woman who had become humanity's voice. The Guardians built failsafes into many species, but humans were their final and most complete creation. We were designed to leave the galaxy when the time came. On the Hegemony homeworld, Emperor Dravzod received the most disturbing report yet. Long-range sensors, checking the void between galaxies as mentioned in Earth's broadcast, had detected something massive moving toward them. Analysis suggested it would reach the outer systems in 273 years. Dr. Lyrax sent her own message to the Emperor. The humans were telling the truth. The ancient enemy is real, and Earth may be our only hope for survival. The Emperor stared at the sensor readings, his 6 eyes wide with fear. For the first time in his long life, Dravzod faced a threat that his empire could not conquer. The shadow was coming. 6 months after the failed invasion, representatives from every major civilization gathered on a neutral space station. They came to meet Earth's leaders and discuss the future. The station was crowded with aliens of all shapes and sizes. Some had tentacles, others had multiple eyes or wings. They all watched nervously as the human delegation arrived. The humans looked different now. Their eyes had a faint blue glow, and they moved with calm confidence. They were led by a council of 12 people from different parts of Earth. Emperor Dravzod himself attended, his large frame hunched in a posture that none of his subjects had ever seen before: humility. People of the galaxy, began Amarachin, who spoke for the human council. We did not ask for this role. We were living our lives, unaware of our true purpose. But now we remember who we are and why we exist. She showed them holographic images of the approaching shadow. This enemy consumed countless worlds before. The Guardians stopped it temporarily, but knew it would return. That is why they created us and the defense network across the galaxy. What do you propose? Asked the Emperor. Not an empire, Amara replied. An alliance, equal partners united against a common threat. The humans outlined their plan. Earth would share Guardian technology, but carefully and responsibly. Training centers would be established where representatives from all worlds could learn to access the Guardian systems compatible with their species. The hegemony as you know it is over, Amara told the Emperor directly. Your people will join us as equals, not rulers. Surprisingly, the Emperor stood and removed his imperial crown. I have seen the truth in the ancient records. I have confirmed the shadow's approach with our own sensors. If humanity is our best hope, then the hegemony will step aside. A new council was formed that day with representatives from all species. They called it the Galactic Defense Alliance. Earth became its center, not as conquerors but as guardians. In the months that followed, training began. Aliens came to Earth to learn, while humans traveled to other worlds to help activate ancient Guardian sites. Dr. Lyrax became the head of xenobiology research, studying how different species could access Guardian knowledge. Keltor led efforts to recover and translate more ancient texts from across the galaxy. On a hill overlooking the new Galactic Academy, in what was once called Switzerland, Amarachin stood with General Kraz, who had become an unlikely ally after his defeat. I still don't understand why you showed mercy, Kraz said. You could have destroyed us all. Amara smiled. That's what separates us from the shadow. It only knows how to consume and destroy. The Guardians created us to protect life, not end it. Together they looked up at the stars, where thousands of ships from all civilizations now trained together. They had 273 years to prepare for the greatest battle the galaxy would ever face. Earth was indeed off-limits to conquest, not because humans were weak, but because they were the inheritors of the greatest civilization the galaxy had ever known, awakened just in time to save it once again.